Bridie let go of the bars and dropped, her feet hitting the wooden floor with a thump. Mad Janet kept going. Kings! Crash! Something hit the wall. Maybe a wooden bench. If Janet was throwing things, that could be Bridie's ticket out of here. There was the sound of a scuffle. Mad Janet yelled and cursed. Bridie braced herself to run out the second the door opened, if it did. Mad Janet let out a low-pitched, keening howl. It came closer as they dragged her up the stairs. Now, which cell would they open? Bridie held her breath and hoped. The door swung open. Mr. Fitch and his son wrestled Mad Janet into the room. Mad Janet looked at Bridie for a moment with perfect clarity. "I splotted the turnkeys, matey," she said. "It's bows and anchors to yours, and mint jelly on Thursdays." "Thank you," Bridie whispered and darted out. She ran across the women's ward and down the stairs, eager to be outside at last in the clean air. But Mrs. Fitch stood at the bottom of the stairs, blocking her way. "Where do you think you're going?" "Out to the cabbage field, to work," said Bridie. "Mr. Fitch told me." "No, he didn't. In here." She grabbed Bridie by the collar and marched her into the office. It was a bare room, like all the others. The whole place smelled of failure and boiled cabbage. Painted on the wall in tall black letters were the words, "Worthy of notice. Self-government, quietude, and peace are blessings." There was a table, 2 chairs, and a stack of ledgers, recording each poorhouse inmate's date of arrival, personal information, and in parentheses where applicable, date of death. Bridie's name was in those ledgers, she knew. So was her mother's. A large man was sitting in one of the chairs. He looked like he could lift a full-grown hog under each arm and throw both hogs at you if he didn't like you. He stared at Bridie as if he didn't like her. "Scrawny little thing, ain't she?" he said. Bridie didn't like him much either, but she held her tongue. She'd only just gotten out of the cell. A tall, thin woman with a face like a missed dinner stood beside him. "Any help I can get, Mr. Kigley." "Did I ask you to speak?" said Mr. Kigley. Mrs. Fitch seated herself at the table and opened a ledger. "These are the Kigleys," she told Bridie. Bridie stood there and looked at Mrs. Kigley. Mrs. Kigley looked back, her mouth a thin, hard line. Then Bridie glanced down at the open ledger. She saw her own name. Bridget Gallagher, born, Ireland, aged 11 years. Admitted with mother. Mother died May 9th, 1848. Mr. Kigley was still looking Bridie over. "How much?" he asked. "It costs nothing to take a poorhouse child on trial," said Mrs. Fitch. "I mean, how much will you pay me?" "We do not," said Mrs. Fitch. "You will have the girl's labor, and that is payment enough." Mr. Kigley didn't seem to like that. "What if I get her bound over? Might as well buy the whole hog." "We prefer that you take them on trial," said Mrs. Fitch firmly, "to ensure that all parties are satisfied with the arrangement." Mrs. Fitch and Mr. Kigley gazed at each other, hard and intractable. "Let me talk to your husband," said Mr. Kigley. The stairs creaked as Mr. Fitch and his son descended. Mad Janet's low keening was a distant howl in the background, like dogs in the night. Mr. Kigley heaved himself to his feet, and he and Mr. Fitch shook hands and talked about the crops. Bridie looked out the window, at the other children weeding in the sun. She thought about what was going to happen to her. If the Kigleys took her, well, she honestly didn't hold out much hope for them, but it had to be better than the poorhouse. Didn't it? But there was no way she was going to let herself be bound to them. She'd seen it happen to other children in the 3 months she'd been at the poorhouse, and off they'd gone willy-nilly. When you were indentured, you didn't get paid a thing until you were 21 years old, and you couldn't leave.